After interviewing 5 family members, I have a better appreciation of the words survival, strength, and struggle. Now let me share my family history with you. Let's begin in the 1920s when my great-grandfather Rufus Anderson was born in Bolivar, Tennessee on October 9, 1922. At the age of 21, Rufus joined the Army to fight in World War II. He received many letters of commendation from his superiors for supervising Negro soldiers. In 1950, Rufus married a woman named Mary Anderson, but there were troubles in the marriage.
My mother left my father when I was 12 years old, and we moved in with my aunt, Martha. Then my mother died when I was 15.
Mary died in 1937 after battling kidney disease glomerulonephritis. In 1985, Rufus died, and my mom explains his last moments.
And then when he passed away, he had liver cancer, and he was in the hospital, and they told us he only had a couple of hours to live. So my mom and I had decided we were going to stay at the hospital. So he called me over. He was very weak, and he called me over. He held my hand, and he told me to go home. And then shortly after I left about midnight, my mom said he just looked at her, and then his eyes rolled back in his head, and he passed away.
Now we switch to my mother's father's side of the family, beginning with my great-grandfather Primo Vincenelli, who was a white Italian who fell in love with a black woman named Alice Ligon Grinnell. Primo and Alice gave birth to my grandfather, Dwight Ligon, on November 13, 1951, but unfortunately, it had to remain a secret.
My mother and father and me, we never could be seen together. We would always sneak into his house and take a ride on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Go out in the country and ride in the dark, you know. That's how we had to be together, because it was illegal for blacks and whites to be pretty much almost in the same car.
As you can see, my grandfather had very light skin, and people often thought that he was white. Here is a story that almost cost a young boy's life.
My black friend, we were wrestling playing, and the white man came out thinking I was white, and he grabbed Lewis, that was his name, Lewis, by the throat and had to pull out a hook blade. He put the hook blade on his neck and said, "You nigga, if I ever catch you beating up a white boy, I'll cut your effing throat." And then I told him, "Please, mister, don't cut him. He's my friend. We were just playing. We wasn't fighting."
My grandfather became a civil rights worker, but his life was threatened by the KKK, so he moved up north to Broadview, Illinois, to live with his sister, Ruth Grinnell. On the other side of Chicago was my father's grandmother, Essie Dunning. Essie was born on January 25, 1928. She was a single mother that raised 8 children on her own. My great-aunt Carol Harris explains how hard she worked.
She was a hustler for real. She made homebrew was the name of it. She made it in crock pots, and she sold dinners. She made that beer, and we used to help her because she used to put it in a brown bottle, and we used to cap it. And she had card games, and she had a full-time job. She did all that. And I remember when Christmas time came, we had so many toys and stuff, we didn't never miss a beat. I don't even remember no hungry days.
One of Essie's 8 children was my father's mother, Veronica. She was born to Essie and Doc Wright on September 23, 1950. My family currently has no information on Doc Wright. My father, Stephen Dunning, was born to Veronica Dunning on November 15, 1969. Veronica later had another son named Eric Dunning. My father had a true passion as a kid, breakdancing. He was locally known as Baby Fresh.
Yeah, I was a breakdancer. My little crew was Crash Crew. But we did started off local, around the house, in school. Then we actually started doing shows at the park districts, at the Brookfield Zoo, Lincoln Park Zoo, things like that. So breakdancing was a good thing for me. It boosted my popularity other than sports. I can get out with that. That's
At the age of 28, my dad lost his brother, Eric Dunning.
Well, my brother, Eric Dunning, was actually murdered. That was probably one of the hardest things I have to deal with in my life. some of the good memories. Like I said, it was just us two. You know, didn't have any other brothers or sisters, so it was just he and I. He was my younger brother, so he looked up to me. I tried my best to set a good example for him, and I can honestly say that as a kid, he was definitely my best friend.
My mother's parents married in 1970 and had my mother, Brigida Lagan, on August 7th, 1972. She went to the University of Minnesota, where she became the first African-American homecoming queen at the university. Once she graduated, she met my dad.
I met your dad at the local bar. He came up to me, got my number, and he told me, I will be taking you to dinner tomorrow, or lunch tomorrow, in the movies, and I'll pick you up about 1 o'clock. From that point on, we saw each other every single day. And 6 months later, we got married.
On April 28th, 1995, Steve married my mother, Brigida Lagan. Shortly after being married, I was born on February 21st, 1996 in Ventura, California. And 4 years later, my little brother Eric was born. And here we stand today as a product of all the brave and courageous ancestors that paved the way for me.